Hello and welcome to episode 32 of Shy Sock Stock. My name is Chris. As always, I'm here with my good friend and co-host Matt. How are you doing tonight, Matt?
Doing wonderful.
Yeah.
A little tired, a little tuckered out. For taking care of our new pup Ozzy, named very obviously after the one and only Ozzy Guillen. But we'll power through that and have a good show.
How's the dog life? Having fun?
It's pretty great. It's pretty
Dogs are
amazing.
cool.
Yeah.
Dogs are pretty sick, man. They're just so happy to see you every time. You get them the worst day ever, and they're just super stoked. You leave the room and come back into the room. Dog's like, whoa,
Yeah.
yes, he's back. He's back. Oh my god, you're back. Nice, man. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I've seen pictures. Cute little pup.
Yeah,
Cute boy.
he's
Good
he's
boy.
nice. Maybe we'll have to get him on TikTok or Instagram or something.
We'll do live at bats with our dogs. Live dog at bats. So tonight's episode, I got 5 headlines for Matt. Matt's going to give me kind of his opinion on each. We'll talk through them all. Matt, basically scale of 1 to 5. 1, it's just not, there's no shot that's true. 5, bet your life savings on it. It's a fact. All right,
I like it. Sounds like a fun game.
here we go. Number 1, Sox are the worst running and scoring position batting team ever. Currently batting a solid 157 with runners in scoring position. What do you got?
That's got to be a one. They're not the worst ever. It's off to a rough start. There's something in their brains where they get the bases loaded with no outs and they just screw it up. And that's like team wide, 1 through 9, and that's been going on for a couple of years now. So you really need to dial in and kind of change your approach to at least get a run in. In those situations, you got to score runs. You're going to lose games if you don't do so. If they hit with runners in scoring position in this first series, um, they probably would have taken 3 or 4. So, um, but I'm going to give it a one. It's a rough start, but I don't think it's the worst ever. They're not the worst in the league. They weren't even that bad last year with runners in scoring position. It's just all they hit was singles. So hopefully that changes this year. It looks like I think they lead the league in doubles right now. So that'll hopefully drive in some runs.
They do. I think 5 games in, they have 21
We have
doubles as a team.
18 doubles or something. Yeah, something
18.
like that.
That's insane. I agree with you. I don't think they're the worst. I think a screaming issue is when guys are in running scoring position or bases juiced. The whole plate approach that got them to that position just like goes out the window, and that's for everybody. Maybe except for Yohan because he's been on an absolute tear. But
He's been on a ripper, baby.
we're gonna be getting to Yohan.
Yeah,
But
we're believers on this show.
I think I got him on my back tonight. I do, yeah, I do. Hey, first jersey I bought. I remember walking to the Dick's Sporting Goods on I think it's Roosevelt near Jackson, near our old office, and buying it during lunch. I think I told our boss that I had a very important thing, Aaron. Like I had to run. But I think like if you watch back those Houston games, I mean, look at the Oscar Kolosk at bat. I think in game 2, where bases juice, no outs, and Garcia threw a cutter at his back foot. He just swung all 3 cutters, 3 pitches, didn't even make him come close to the zone. So
He looked like a
I mean,
rookie at that at bat. So
yeah.
I'll give him a break just because it's his first time up there. But no, he did look like a rookie.
And then Elvis and Anderson, same thing, just like pitch low and away. And I think it's kind of the same attitude, like 3-0 counts. Andrew Vaughn, when he got almost in a fight with Anthony
DeScalfini or something. Man.
Yeah, over a 3-0, swinging at a 3-0 ball, which was weird. That he kind of just yelled at Andrew Vaughn after grounding out. How
Yeah, I
dare you hit a ground ball
still
to
don't really
me?
know what happened. Still don't really
My
know
name is
what happened.
Anthony. Do you understand who I am? No one swings at my 3-0 pitch. But same kind of thing, low and away. I think the White Sox need to take a deep breath. Take a pitch. Take 2 pitches. You know what I mean? Like, make them throw strikes. especially if he's throwing balls, walking guys.
And I mean, if it's bases are juiced, or even just a guy on third base, he throws a ball that gets away, that's a run. So, and that's not going to happen if you're swinging.
Yeah, and I mean, it baffles me sometimes. It feels like they don't talk about maybe the change in the plate approach. I'm sure Pedro is. I'm sure Chris Johnson is. I'm sure they're talking to the guys about it. But I mean, it feels like the whole thing changes. It feels like there's just a whole different energy when they do that. Which I'd like to see the White Sox go ahead and hit home runs. Put the ball in the air. And if it's in the zone, just take the pitch. If there's not 2 strikes, just take it.
I mean, if they hit with runners in scoring position, this team's offense capability is, they'll be one of the best in the league.
They'll win 115 games. And you know what? That locker room's going to be jumping, Matt.
I agree. Jumping.
Speaking of locker rooms, Matt, you ever wanted to see more of us? How about that one? You ever want to see more of us?
Not bad. That's not bad.
TopFanRivalry.com, code below, 10% off all access to the locker room. There's a ton of great, stuff in there, especially if you're just a baseball fan. A lot of different shows, articles, people, if you're a stat nerd or a pitching nerd, like myself, there's a bunch of articles about pitch mix, just sequencing, kind of the game within the game. 10% off, Shy Sox Talks, TopFanRivalry.com.
All caps.
All caps. Maybe all caps.
No cap.
For you. Headline number 2 for you. Tim Anderson, he's going to win the 2023 AL MVP. He's walking. He's hitting. Looks great at the start of at the front of the order.
I mean, he's looked pretty good so far. A lot of multi-hit games, which is kind of his specialty, and just hits the ball all over the field wherever he wants it. Missed that home run in Houston by a couple feet. Would have been a homer in 21 other ballparks. I don't think he's going to have the power numbers to be the MVP candidate, but I think he'll, if he keeps playing like this, he'll get a few votes at least. I'm going to give that like a 2.5.
2.5. Take that. There's the belief. Right in the middle. Just right. You're a centrist. Just right down the middle there.
Yeah, on that one. Yeah, you go either way.
Yeah, I mean, he looked great in Houston. After 2 games, he was on pace to walk 162 times this year. It's changed a little bit now. We're 5 games in, but his plate approach looks great. He still, punches at the right field in 2 strike counts. If you leave one over the plate before 2 strikes, I mean, he's going to be taking that.
He can punish the ball. He can punish he could change his whole approach and hit more home runs and, not get as many hits and bat 250 and hit 25 home runs, maybe 30 home runs. But I like the way he plays, and especially with the new rules and, getting on base, grab a few bags. I think he really fits well with the rule changes. So he should never change his approach. He has a very fun approach to watch as a fan.
I think he has 3 stolen bags in Houston, right? 3?
Something like that.
He might have had 7 all of last year. So I think he's going to hit 20 bags. Just like the whole league has changed. I love it. And also his defense with a restricted shift, his defense still looks really solid. He didn't look like he was lagging at all behind in Houston, which was always kind of his bugaboo if people looked at his stats or comparing him to other shortstops.
Yeah, so I've always, when I look at Tim Anderson, he'll get a bunch of errors in bunches. It's not consistently throughout the year that he's making bad plays. He'll just get in his head or something, or get the yips or something for a short period of time, and he'll have a rough week that makes his whole season it's more than a rough week. He'll have a horrendous week and not look like a professional shortstop. But then through the rest of the year, he'll be fine. And then, you look at the stats at the end of the year, and it looks like he's a much worse defender than he actually is.
I would agree with that. What was it, Cleveland last year?
Last year he threw the ball
9 errors. Cleveland, he made 6 of them or something like that.
Yeah.
I I don't know. I think Tim, dark horse MVP candidate. I think he's going to be the AL starting shortstop in the All-Star game.
Love to see that.
All right, here's the third one. Speaking of somebody we spoke about earlier, the lime green shoes. Yoan Moncada, he's going to hit 40-plus doubles this season.
I think that's a 5. I'll give that a 5 on the Truthometer. Not a lie at all. No capping on that for the Gen Z kids. That is no cap. No cap. He's ripping the ball, and his approach is great. And, this is the player, you're seeing him right now. Like, he's not going to bat .450 the whole season, right? He's not going to have this week the whole season unless I don't know, but he's a good player. I've always thought he's a good player. He's played through injuries. He had COVID, he had long COVID, and this could be the year. This could be 2019 again, and he was a beast in 2019. And I think that's the player that he is. Not even like playing at his best. Like, I think that's the player that he actually is, and I think he's going to show that to everyone this year, and he's going to earn that contract next year.
I agree with that. I mean, he can glove it with the best of them. I would argue before the season, top 5 or 7 third baseman in the league, just off his defense alone. Like, he is.
His glove's awesome.
Gold glove level, like every day, in and out. It's not like he goes in streaks where he's really bad and the streaks where he's every day you can book that his glove's going to play at third. You see the power, you see the approach. What was it? Giants had like that restricted shift on him and pulled the third base. He just let the ball go deep and drove it to left field and took 2 bags and said thanks. It's like a maturity thing with his plate approach this year. Is he's seeing how they're playing him, and he's just putting it where they're not. And maybe you talk to Tim about how Tim kind of does that, but it's working out. And he also kind of punched one opposite field power in Houston over that short porch.
And he's just got a great batter's eye, like almost too good to a detriment to himself. Because plate balls that are just like right off the plate that are balls, he'll take and get rung up on them. Like, he gets a lot of called third strikes. But he's got such a good eyes. It's better than the umps, and they screw up, and he kind of gets robbed a lot. I'm sure if there's a way to like run those numbers, he would lead the league in bad calls against him.
Probably. He might not have to deal that much longer because in the minors, they're doing the robo ump, in half the league, and then the challenge system in the other half. And I would imagine we see the challenge system in the majors next year, and we're going to see a lot of this stuff from Yoan Moncada when it's off the plate and the ump just butchers the call. And I don't think we're ever going to see the speed we saw from him in 2018, 2019 with stealing bags. I think he's more of just like a power guy. He was inches from tying up the game, game 3, I think. That ball is like an inch to the left. That goes over first base in the corner, and Eloy's running on. Raul Gonzalez, I think, pinch ran at that point, and he's running on contact. He's scoring from first, and you're going in extras.
And I'll just say, when he tried to take third base and got thrown out, not mad about that at all. I know it's like old rules, don't ever make the first out at third, but they needed to run there, and it was a perfect relay throw to get him. If anyone double clutched it or threw it off target at all, he would have been safe. At all, like any part of that would have been not perfect. He would have been safe at third. But it was just a great play by Kyle Tucker, and I forget who the relay man on that was, but
Dubon.
Yeah, Mauricio Dubon.
But that's the thing. Like, White Sox fans all last year said, well, Cleveland can go first to third. They take the extra bag. That's how they're aggressive. Well, the White Sox are aggressive this year. That's just being aggressive. You can't be mad when you don't take the bag, and then when you do take the bag and you get thrown out, you can't also be mad at that player for doing what fans wanted to see so badly last year.
If you're one of those people who's been ragging on Moncada for being lazy and not trying hard, which he very obviously is trying hard and isn't lazy, and you're mad about that, you just hate the guy and admit it. You hate him. I don't know why you hate him, but just admit to yourself that you hate him, and he will never be able to please you. And maybe your life will be better. Just come to that grip. Come to grips with your own true self that you are a hater.
I think
that's
another
fine.
part.
You can be a hater.
It's okay. It's okay to be a hater. And another thing is, like, Yohan Moncada has, I don't know if it's clutch, but it's lack of choke. Like, if he's at the dish and running from scoring position,
steady,
right in the middle, and people say, "Oh, well, he never ever looks emotional. He never ever played a good," because obviously getting super amped and super emotional when the bases are loaded is not working for him.
It's not.
It's not. And that's why Moncada's can hit 40+ doubles this year. It's if you have your mortgage payment, bet it.
Yeah, that's easy money.
Yeah. That's not gambling advice, but bet it. Here's one that I think you're going to find really interesting, Matt. White Sox only starting pitching only allowed 5 runs earned in Houston. Only 5. And you know what? After that series, after the defending champs in that lineup they got, I'm willing to say it. The Sox have the best top 4 in the majors, and it's going to carry them to the World Series.
I don't know if they have the best 4. I'm going to give you definitely, especially after opening day, the home opener. That's a 2. Like, that's not.
No, top 4. Clevenger's 4 right now. Kopech.
So you're counting Clevenger's 4. All right.
Clevenger's 4.
Yeah, I mean, Clevenger looked good. He looked really good, actually. He had some control issues. He hit a guy right in the chest. I don't think I've ever seen that before, but.
Houston responded with one. Right there.
Yeah, I mean, he just hit him right in the chest. I've never seen it. I've never seen a guy get hit in the chest on a beanball. It had to be painful. But Clevenger looked great. Giolito, gets bad luck all the time, and especially in the first inning. He's probably got the worst bad luck first innings ever. Dylan Cease looked like the best pitcher of all time. The knuckle curve might be the best pitch ever that he throws, or like curve slider or whatever, knuckle slider, whatever he throws.
Knuckle curve.
Whatever that thing is that drops off the plate is like one of the most amazing things I've seen. But yeah, Kopech looked real shaky, like really bad, throwing batting practice meatballs, didn't have any velocity. And, he's still kind of coming back. He's kind of like Lance Lynn last year when he came back. And basically, like, his spring training was in the middle of the season. You got them MLB players. And Kopech was still coming. He's coming back from that knee injury. I don't think he got a whole spring training in. And I think he maybe pitched a game. And, I think he'll find it. But until he does, I can't say that that's going to be the best. They're not the top 4 in the league.
Hey, you know what? It was worth the try. Michael Kopech, I think for lefties, he just needs to trust his changeup. When he threw that changeup, average exit velo 62.2 miles per hour, and he only threw it 7 times. Like, I know that's not a huge sample size in a game, but it looked strong. It was a different look for lefties. I think an issue with him, and I think we talked about this last season, is his fastball has so much run that on a right-handed batter, they're not touching it, right? But a lefty, if he misses his mark, that drifts over the plate, and Jock and Yordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker all eat. They eat, man. Mike Yastrzemski, that guy is built like a middle schooler, and he launched one. All right, he just needs a pitch to show left-handed batters.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that performance is Michael Kopech. I think he's a pretty good player, and I think he'll figure it out. He's kind of like a mentality guy, like he's all in his head a lot. And that's kind of a problem that he can needs to like work through as a professional baseball player. But like he gave up that home run, then it started raining, so he probably lost grip on the ball a little bit. I think a lot of reporters were saying that he was kind of playing with the ball a lot, so maybe he was tipping his pitches a little bit, and his breaking balls were just like left over the plate and getting obliterated, and they had no speed to him. I was at the game, like checking the radar up there. He was like throwing like 92, 93. He had some pitches that were like 70 in the 70s, and that's just not his game. He's a power pitcher.
Yeah. And what was it? Out of the 6 home runs they hit off of him, five were in a 2-strike count. They hit 5, 4 were in a 2-strike count. Like, and they were against lefties. They were to put away. They were meatballs.
They were not wall scrapers either. They were deep into the stands.
that Josh, good for Oscar Colas being like, is this close? On that Josh Pederson one, maybe Michael Kopech think it's not that bad. And shout out Luis Robin.
Saved one, yeah.
Robin Jock of the 2-runner homers, and a really bad moment we would have had to do, and that will be the show. In your last one, Matt, you know what? After watching the Houston series, Chicago White Sox, they are going to win the 2023 World Series. I believe now. I believe that they can actually do it.
I'm a believer. So they split with the Astros, which was sick, and they could have taken 3, and they maybe even could have taken 4. They could have swept. They were in the lead, and they had a rough home opener, real bad, real rough. Maybe the schedule start of 310 getting moved to 210 kind of just like messed up everyone's preparation or whatever. That's it's like a rough game and kind of leaves a sour taste in your mouth, and you wish they were playing tonight, but they're playing tomorrow, and it's a 5. They're going to win the World Series.
Yeah, just book that. I believe now. Like going into the Houston series, I was like, yeah. Maybe, but like, give me Dylan Cease against literally anybody, and then Lance Lynn against anybody else's too. Go ahead and give me that all day.
And just watching the outfield defense, chef's kiss. Wow.
And imagine if Gavin Cheese and Andrew Vaughn were still running out there. You think they're beating Houston? Like,
they would have lost
this game by 9.
That play that Colas made, neither of them would have made it.
And Benintendi's defense, like that ball that dropped in front of him, that had an expected like batting average of 650. Like it wasn't like a lazy play. It was a really hard ball to get to. All right. He didn't dive. He kept it to a single, folks. All right. Like
can't dive for all of them, man. Can't dive for all of them.
Yeah, and I mean the bullpen's about to get a lot better. Shout out Liam Hendricks. Like apparently they have a date for him to be back, which is the first week of June, which is insane.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy for me to hear, but that's awesome to hear. That's like the best news of the season for him. And Crochet should be coming back soon. And, like the bullpen's going to give up runs. Like that's going to happen. That's, that's what bullpens are. They're not going to pitch a clean inning every single time. And I think the back end of it's pretty fine. Ronaldo's kind of shaky as the closer, but he's kind of holding it down. They just got to score more runs.
Like you're not going to get like a solid closer if he doesn't have a history being closer. Like
exactly. Yeah.
Just you can say 3 outs or 3 outs. Those are different 3 outs.
It's
way different 3 outs. Which I think he can get there one day. But it's not going to happen overnight.
I mean, his pitch is that he's throwing it 101 miles per hour, 100 miles per hour. He was humming it in there.
Amped, baby. Who goes in the bullpen then? Santos, see ya. I mean, go ahead and scratch that name.
Honestly, this stuff kind of looked pretty nasty, so I can see.
Yeah, but who goes? Well, Jake Diekman.
Jose Ruiz, see you around, bud. And Diekman.
Peace.
And Aaron Bummer's actually good. I don't know if people realize this. Aaron Bummer is actually a good player. He's not bad.
He's not bad at all.
He gives up soft contact, strikes guys out. He gets in a lot of he throws a lot of pitches, but he's actually a pretty good player.
And anybody who says, "Oh, I could hit that," just for again realizing how good these guys are, go ahead and look up that ump camp from Dylan Cease on Thursday Night Baseball. Go ahead and see if you're hitting these major league pitchers.
We'll go to
laid off of that one. No,
we'll go to sluggers. I'll pay for your batting cage. We'll crank that thing up to 95, and then just we'll see you not even touch the ball.
See if you can make contact. All right,
it's
coming straight to. It's not even going to move. It's not even going to move.
No movement. It's coming right at you though.
And if you really, really think you're good, there's a batting cage about 2 hours from me in Land O'Lakes, Florida, where you can pick pitchers, and it's a screen, and they do their windup, and the ball shoots out. It'll throw the pitch arsenal like a live at bat. You think you can hit a 96-mile-per-hour sinker? Come on down, man.
I don't.
I don't. All right, but I'm gonna try. I want to go there. I'm too scared though, because I think I'm gonna hit it off my leg if I somehow make contact. It really hurts.
So get all the gear on. Elbow pad, shin pad, with the face, chin. The Javi Baez, Yohan Moncada helmet.
Logan Porter Jr. said he had one of those bad boys on. And that's going to be it for us tonight, folks. White Sox play the Giants and then the Pirates over the weekend. What's your prediction, Matt? 2 more against the Giants.
Yeah, I think they got 2 day games against the Giants. I'm feeling 2 dubs. That game just was out of hand too early, so not much you can do. And your 5th starter is going to lose. So if your 5th starter is Michael Kopech, I think you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, you're okay. And if it's Mike Clevenger and Kopech goes to 4, Clevenger looked like a guy.
He looked like he knew how to pitch.
Yeah, he looked like he played in Cleveland again.
And he looks like a crackhead out there on the mound, but he was throwing it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, and I think the White Sox are going to just bully the Pirates. Just from pure experience of knowing that franchise, you just got to pitch around O'Neal Cruz, and you're good.
Honestly,
the only bat they have.
They should also, there's a couple guys they should walk, even if the bases are loaded, and Jose Ramirez. No, the White Sox. Jose Ramirez. They should always never throw a pitch to him. Just intentional walk him every single time. And Yordan Alvarez.
And Yordan, unless Cease is on the bump because Cease made him look silly. And if it's just some random minor leaguer that's just like a 22-year-old kid that's just up for a day. Just based on the history of the White Sox, go ahead and walk that kid too.
Go ahead and walk
any
him.
Of them. Any of them. That kid's about to look like Barry Bonds for whatever.
It's like in the 2010s when anytime a pitcher got called up to pitch against the White Sox, he would throw a borderline no hitter every time.
It looks like it now. 2010s, it still looks like it. All right, Anthony DeStefani had a 6.2 ERA in 5 games last year, and the White Sox made him look like he was a Cy Young candidate.
That's all right.
It's not a good day.
If it was. It was a gloomy day, so I think that threw off the beloved.
Gloomy boys, all right? And, like I said earlier, if you like what you hear, go ahead and check us out at Top Fan Rivalry. We are their exclusive White Sox content in the locker room. Shy Sox Talks, all caps, no cap.
And it is plural, so.
Plural, like 2 of us on the podcast.
Talks.
Plural, talks. And not like an X, like an S. It's underneath. You'll see it.
We'll spell it out for you, folks.
Go Sox.
Go White Sox.